Welcome to the So Spurs podcast, where we're going to be recording today the City preview, running through your questions, and talking a little bit about our owner's upcoming prison time, I guess. Oh, previous owner, sorry. But today we have a special guest from Houston Spurs. Adam, how are you, mate?
Good, mate. How are you?
Good, thanks. Yep, still repping the scarf from my visit over there when it was literally freezing.
I like it. It was great to have you.
Good to be there. It was really cool watching the game with you guys. And Stu, how are you, mate?
All good, mate. Good to see you again.
Good to see you too. We have Deej. How are you?
Doing
Surviving
good.
the floods in Austin.
Something like that.
And Jonny over in Ireland. It's always raining there, so you're used to it. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm really good, Jim. Thanks very much. Can't wait for Friday, mate. How are you?
Not wait for Friday either. That's just keeping me going. It's been 2 weeks without football, and I found myself talking about go-kart tracks instead because I'm so bored of things to watch. So we'll start with the City game, shall we? Adam, I might throw you in the deep end. I guess you'll be watching it with the Spurs supporters group over in Houston and your friend Carl. But
we will indeed. I'm not sure the full kit be there this on Friday, but I'm actually really looking forward to it. I do believe that the last time we played City in the FA Cup was the horrible 3-0 up at half time and 4-3 at the end. So I think we owe them one for sure. They haven't beaten us or scored against us right at the new stadium. So yeah, I'm pretty confident we're gonna get some goals. I think 4-3 our way would be lovely jubbly.
Nice. The missing part to this formula, though, is in those previous games we had Sonny, who seems to be their kryptonite. Yeah.
But we haven't got him, so hopefully Kulo will be back, and Brennan will hit the back of the net.
Yeah. Stu, how are you feeling about it? Are you similar? Maddison looks like he's back, which is pretty big.
Yeah, all the rumors are that he's not fit enough to start. As you said, Sonny is the problem. He's scored, I think, 4 out of the last 5 games at the new White Hart Lane. I think he scored 4 goals up there. He was, the anti-City player, not Kane, not anyone else. It was Son. So missing him, I really fear the worst. And it just seems to be kind of typical Spurs, wouldn't it be, if after such horrible years with horrible managers, but beating them, we finally get in a manager, gets us all inspired and happy, and then we get done by City.
I'm kind of in a different camp. I'm wondering where Jonny and Deej your heads are. I'm going into this game feeling pretty buoyant, but I know even if we lose, we'll have gone in swinging and given them something to think about. But I feel like if we played that game 10 times, I'd like to think we'd win 5 of them. But where do you sit with this, Deej?
I am very much looking at this game as a free hit, and I know that people will get mad because, mentality monster, whatever. I am of the opinion that we probably should not win this game, given our injuries, given City's current lack of injuries, especially if they get Haaland back, which seems to be about 50-50 at this point. Given where City are as a club, given despite how great our season has been, where we are as a club, I think that if it was like Liverpool or something, we would be expecting a loss. It's just because we have this weird thing with City where they refuse to score at our ground, and we just kind of beat them all the time, that we're like, well, what's one more? And I don't know. I'm just thinking of not the last time we played them in the FA Cup, the last time we played them in the Carabao Cup final, where that was not a very good game. And I kind of feel like it's going to be one somewhat similar to that. It's going to be just like a really ugly game. They're going to finally break their...
No, what is this?
Curse.
Jonny, you, me and Adam are looking at each other like, what the hell happened to the... What? Jonny, over to you, mate. You're on mute, by the way, but over to you.
I've unmuted myself. I can sort of feel where the boys are coming from, but I don't agree. I'm not on the same page. I mean, to compare the Carabao Cup final, and like Deej is a machine when it comes to knowledge, especially on Spurs. So like not in any way disrespecting his opinion, but like that was a completely different canvas on which like we were playing, and it was Mourinho just been sacked. Ryan Mason just came in, and Sonny was about the only player that really gave it any effort like that day. It was just like a really, really just one of those classic Tottenham in a final or semi-final type performances. I mean, it's completely different now with Ange, and with our record at home. Obviously, a record against them. I'm sorry. I know that at some point they're going to have score, and at some point they're going to win at our ground, and maybe it will be Friday. But I don't think it'll be on the back of a performance or a game like the kind of tight, scrappy. I think it'll be a really entertaining game. I think there will be quite a lot of goals. I do think we're going to concede, but I suppose, yeah. I mean, Stu's probably been fairly measured because when you look at them, obviously, if they're playing on their best form, and we are missing, if Maddison's not starting, for example, and Sonny's not there, like you got to say, objectively, that Manchester City are the favourites, even though it's in our place. But it is under the lights. It is Ange Postecoglou's Tottenham. We have got our best defence back again. We've got a classy keeper. The midfield, okay, unfortunately, if Maddison's not starting, we're going one person there in the midfield who would probably rather not have in the midfield. And obviously we're missing our biggest threat up front. But that doesn't mean we don't have other threats up front. And we obviously do. So I'm sort of cautiously optimistic. I do think it's a bit of a 50-50 call. Like you, Jim, I would say it's in the balance. And if we can get a good start, then, I mean, clearly De Bruyne coming back is unfortunate because he was incredible against Newcastle in that little kind of 25, 30-minute performance. He was just amazing, just such a brilliant player. Haaland, there seems to be kind of, like you said, he's in a reckoning. He's kind of a 50-50 too. So I'd be kind of surprised if he starts from what I've read. So I don't know. I know we're going to get into things in a bit more detail, but my overall opinion is that I'm going into that game thinking, being really hopeful, and if we go out, then it won't be because we've not turned up. That's what I believe is going to happen. So
yeah, I'm with you there. Anyone, you can lose any game or you can win it. That you can never remove the full chance of winning a match. There's always chance. But I feel like we're going to go into this game regardless, feeling we came out having played better football. But DJ,
that's a crazy take saying that. I can understand where you're coming from. I'm just like, to be fair, I kind of expect us to lose against City every time, and then we kind of never do, which is really weird. It's like probably the weirdest thing about Tottenham, and there's a lot of weird things about Tottenham. They just like refuse to lose to the best team arguably in world football at this point, which I appreciate. I've got, obviously, because I'm in the States, I've got a lot of Plastic fans, and a lot of them support City, so it's always nice to get one over on them. But I don't know. I think that we obviously can win this game. I'm not saying we can't. I just think that we haven't necessarily had our best performances without Son. And I keep looking at the Asian game schedule, and I catch a couple of games when I can. And I'm like, why are there only 2 games scheduled today? We need as many games scheduled so we can end as quick as possible because we need Sun back ASAP. But I don't know. I just think it's so hard to. I mean, even look at City. Like they're struggling without their best attacking option. Well, not struggling, but struggling for City without their best attacking options in Haaland and De Bruyne, and we are missing that equivalent in Maddison and Son.
It's not Haaland I'm worried about. I'll pass the question to Adam next, but it's not Haaland I'm worried about. It's the return of Rodri. Like, that's 50 games without a loss with him. Is it 50? That is insane. That is just ridiculous. But Adam, do you expect them to start full strength, or do you think there might be a little bit of rotation for them?
Well, I think they're defending the trophy, so and it's Pep, so I would expect their strongest lineup to start. I think Stones and Akanji are out, which again I think that plays into our hands. I think if we're not going to have the majority of possession, that's very, very clear. But we are fantastic at counter-attacking. We are fantastic at when we do get across that halfway line, getting players up and supporting. So, I mean, if Maddison's back, and he can control that. He can control that midfield and control that ball when he's on it. I just, I'm I'm not the most hopeful Spurs fan in the world in terms of over seasons, but I really fancy us. I really fancy us at home. If it was away, no way. But at home, let's make sure we win possession in the right areas, and then let's make sure that ball gets forward as quick as possible and support. And there's going to be goals. It's going to be exciting. We're definitely going to concede, but I think they're very susceptible in the back line. So Richie might bag a few. Johnson gets on his game, then we'll be good.
And Stu, in your opinion, then, where's this game won or lost? There's got to be a part of the pitch you're looking at and thinking that's the.
I think it's midfield. I think if he plays the same midfield that we played against United, and I'm not taking anything away from them. They played fantastically. I think they played, especially Skip and Højbjerg played much better than I think any of us expected against United. But Man City have got an amazing midfield. As you said, Rodri, he's just an amazing player. This season, when they had their blip, was because he was out for a few games. So they've got him back. They got De Bruyne back. I mean, I think it's just going to be too much for us. I think the good thing is that since the Man United game, we've had more time for Van de Ven and for Romero to get fully fit. So I think defensively we're going to be quite well set up. I think if Haaland's not playing, it might be a tight game, to be honest. I think we'll struggle to score. I think they'll struggle to score. And I think midfield, it's going to be a scary option, because I think, what does our friend Big Ange do? Does he play Kulu in the midfield and make a change to the Højbjerg Skip? Or does he kind of go for the more defensive oriented to kind of counteract the City dominance? It's going to be a tough call for him to make. I
think from experience, he will do something we don't expect. And we'll all go, what the F are you doing? And then suddenly we're like, I can see why you did that now. That's really cool. That answers kind of just leading into the questions a bit, which I'll pass around. But Justin Studley on YouTube, his question was pretty much along these lines of, where do City go full strength? Because Haaland's obviously got a knock. Kevin De Bruyne hasn't played 90 minutes. They've got a bigger picture here of the Champions League to stay in and the Premier League. This is probably the third most important competition to them, where it's probably the second most important competition to us. So they might look at this with slightly more caution on the long-term picture than us. So there might be some rotation there. But Deej, I'll pass you the next question. This is from Rick in Oz. Worried about Haaland and De Bruyne in the FA Cup. If we were to draw against City, could we bounce back in the replay when Sarr, Maddison and Basuma returning and beat them basically at the Etihad? Would you rather go at the Etihad and have all those players back, or would you rather play them at home with what we have now, I guess is the question.
Definitely at home with what we have now. For no real reason other than the stupid voodoo that we have over Pep Guardiola and that entire club. I don't really have like a sporting reason to say that. But like to be, I don't know. I'm not super worried about Haaland, weirdly enough. I think that we have the center backs that won't nullify him, because you can't nullify a player like that. But I mean, a lot of his game is reliant on service, and so like that's what I'm really worried about is De Bruyne and how much he'll be able to play. And I think that kind of will dictate to me how confident I'm feeling going into this game. Is will De Bruyne be able to play more than 60 minutes? Because even if De Bruyne starts and plays for 60 minutes and then has to come off, despite the immense wealth of talent they have in that midfield, nobody's Kevin De Bruyne other than Kevin De Bruyne. And as soon as he goes off, City get worse. It's just a fact. So if for some reason he's not able to play as much, I think that could be a real advantage for us. But yeah,
I do wonder if we'll go all shithousery and put some heavy challenges on De Bruyne and Haaland and make them feel as uncomfortable as we can, knowing they're not fully fit, and just make it really uncomfortable. That's what I'd be telling them to do anyway, but I'm an arsehole who'd want to win at all costs.
When is the replay?
That's a good question.
Because will the players be back for the replay?
Well, would it be probably squeezed in to the No, it wouldn't be. That's a good point. Is it normally 2 weeks after?
When the replays stop? Is that the 5th round?
This is the final round we can have a replay,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, that's a good question. I guess it would have to be within the next 2 weeks, wouldn't it? So,
I don't think Son probably won't be back. I don't know about when the African nations.
well, unfortunately, we should say fortunately for those players in the AFCON, both SARS and Basuma's national sides are top of their group, and Sonny is second, but looking like they'll qualify in his. So it looks like we're going to go a couple more weeks without those guys, unfortunately.
We're playing Everton on the Saturday, the 3rd of February, and then the following Saturday we're playing at home to Brighton. So it's probably the midweek between there, because midweek before that we've got Brentford in the league. So that's the only obvious time. Obviously, Sonny and the AFCON boys won't be back anyway.
Well, and here's a question for you guys. I was doing the talking of players returning. I was doing the writing down of who we can fit on our bench when everyone's back. If we were to have a clean bill of health, we've actually got to leave a few really good players out of the squad in its entirety.
Wow.
So who misses out? So if you think if everyone's back for the next game, who's going to be on our bench? If we have full strength, and we said our full strength side was obviously Vicario in goal, Porro, Romero, Van der Ven, and
Doggy.
Udogie. And then in midfield, let's say it's Bissouma and Bentancur. And then we've got Maddison. And then we've got who on the left? Let's just say, was it Werner? Son, sorry.
Probably
Son,
Richarlison,
Richarlison, and Kulu. So then who have we got on the bench? We've got Werner, Solomon, Davies,
Dragusin,
Davies.
So you're saying we won't have to list 2 keepers?
We've also got
then you got Sar,
Skip, Højbjerg. So how many spots we got left on Hill? We've got technically we've got Valise. We've got Scarlett. We've called back, right?
Yeah.
Ben Davies.
We've got a second keeper you need to put on there as well, Forster. So that's 14 players.
Yeah, you're right.
It's a pretty hefty squad where not everyone's going to get back in. So if we go out the FA Cup, there could be a case where we've got to leave, going from them having 4 keepers on the bench, wherever it was, to having players complaining they can't even get on the bench at Spurs, and good Premier League players as well. So that squad is starting to look pretty meaty. It's looking pretty good.
Honestly, that's good, I think, because it's better than the alternative of having to not necessarily stunt development, but kind of have players like Dorrington and Donley in limbo, where they're not playing for the senior team, but they're not playing for the U21s either.
Yeah,
because because they can't get game time in either place, but they need to be there to make up numbers on the bench. So
Walker Peters had the same problem. Growth was stunted for not playing, and Tanganga.
Yeah, and we've got all these players coming back from loan. Go on, Adam.
Sessegnon's back as well.
And Sessegnon's back.
They say
But you joke, but these guys, even if they're not playing for us, they're on Premier League wage packets. The squad is insanely big.
I honestly think we have 14 players who are good enough for that first team. I think after you go past the 14, maybe 15, I think then we're struggling, which for me, I still think we need, we forgot Timo Werner as well. So, after that 15, it's for me, it's a little light. Whether we'll get someone in the next 7 days, I'd like to see a centre forward, but does that happen in January?
Yeah, I don't think. Did we even mention Royale as well? I don't think we did.
Oh, Emerson Royale, yeah.
It's literally crazy that we've got to. Technically, Perisic is gone now, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's gone.
Yeah, he's gone.
Dyer's gone, obviously. Yeah. So God. Yeah,
we'll go into Bayern.
Yeah, but Rodon's still on loan, right, with us though. On loan,
yes,
right?
He's still at Leeds,
and there's no clause.
So we should get a decent fee for him end of the season. Actually, just thinking it loud, but it does beg the question that we are apparently still looking at bringing one more in Noosa, but he'll probably be a loan back, won't he?
Yeah.
But it wouldn't surprise me if something suddenly happens with someone like Højbjerg out of the blue, and we're like, oh my God, he's off, and now we've got 30 million quid we could potentially spend on someone else. That wouldn't be too surprising to see happen. But on to the next question. It is on the topic of...
We forgot Lo Celso.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
Gio.
Jesus. That leaves a lot of...
We're talking about a clean bill of health here. That's
Yeah,
never
but
going to
still-
happen with Lo Celso.
But still, it's an insanely large group of
Yes, we
players.
have a very deep squad. We could field a mid-table Premier League team with our second bench.
But
We can't do the thing where City did a couple years ago, where they could probably win the Premier League with their B team. But we could survive relegation. Yeah.
Well, I'd argue we
could be
have...
Crystal Palace.
Well, I'll counter this with, we are currently fourth with our B team. That's pretty much got us here so far this season.
Yeah.
So
Good point.
it's like, now let's see the A team. Let's see what we can do in the second half of the season.
It does make you laugh then when you hear so many people say we've got loads of players who wouldn't get into any other top 6 side, when you're thinking, well, our reserves have actually made us a top 5 side.
Mm.
Well, yeah, and some 12-year-old on Twitter's got us all triggered, me included, with this, is Prime Bale as good as peak Saka? Like,
No, so is Prime Bale as good as Saka now?
Oh my God.
Oh my
I know
goodness.
he's trolling. I know he's not. He's just some 60-year-old
Don't
fat
bite.
slob
Don't
troll
bite.
on the internet.
Don't
But
bite.
I'm giving him all those interactions in the form of...
Yeah, you have to remember, he's 12. He never saw Bale play. He doesn't know.
It's not even a question. It's not even.
nah, it's just wind up.
Saka couldn't dream of being anywhere near as good as Bale. Even, honestly, loan back Bale. But,
Yeah.
Saka's already on the downward curve, isn't he?
Mm.
he'll have his career revived
he's
somewhere
peaked.
else where he can actually win a trophy.
Yeah. Yep. So on signings, open to who wants to take this one because it might. But this is from Chang on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. Should Spurs be lining up a long-term Harry Kane replacement even before the start of Euro 2024, so that this marquee signing can be unveiled and given time to work with Big Ange at the start of pre-season? Right, we're already thinking into next season now. The January is almost over. But he's basically saying, is Richarlison the answer, or are we going to be looking to sign someone as a upgrade? Maybe are we looking at Son going there and signing a left winger? Like, what do we think is the plan?
I think there's talk of Richarlison moving on at the end of the season. I see Real Madrid might be interested. I mean, that for me would blow my mind. But I think we need to give Richie a go, but we definitely need someone else in there. I think I don't think Timo's going to be the answer. It's a fantastic deal. We don't really lose anything, but I think long term we need someone up there that is going to put the ball in the back of the net on a regular occasion. Who that is, I don't know, but yeah, there's definitely room for a centre forward in my opinion.
Ironically, Richie is almost becoming like, oh, he's the perfect backup for a team like us, which he was assigned to be originally, but then maybe he's not.
Yeah, which is unfair with his current form. He's putting the ball in the back of the net. So if that continues, maybe he's the answer. My buddy, who's an Everton supporter, absolutely loves him. Thought he did tremendous for Everton. So time will tell.
Liverpool won the league with Firmino, didn't they?
And Spurs win the league with Richie. Yeah, how
there
good
you
would
go.
that be?
Brazilian number 9. Yeah.
It would be a shame to have to sell him on. I mean, okay, it depends on what you get offered, but I think there's two parts to this question. So you're talking about, like, is it realistic that we're going to be able to bring somebody in who you'd actually be looking to as your number one striker over the next however many years in this window? And I think there's almost zero chance of that whatsoever. For all sorts of reasons. The financial situation's probably a very big one of those reasons. But you also have, as Adam's saying there, like at the moment, Richie's on a really good vein of form of like consistently scoring, and like we've said in the past, every striker lives off the confidence that they have when they're scoring goals. he seems to be maybe even more kind of I don't know, like susceptible to losing confidence in himself. Perhaps certainly he's had his problems over the last year or so, and now he seems to be really kind of strutting along and not just hitting the back of the net, but he's really contributing far more than just that in every game with his pressing and harrying that he has, winning the ball back, and he like with most of our forward players, they can play across the positions. So I think, with what we have now, I think that there's, I don't want to tempt fate. Okay, we've had a lot of injury problems. It's like before when we lost Kane, sort of Sonny always stepped up. If Richarlison's not scoring goals, hopefully Sonny's scoring goals, and we've now got Werner in there. Hopefully he's not going to contribute too many, probably, but Johnson can hopefully find a little bit more clinical aspect to his game, and we've got Kulusevski who comes in, and then we've got the likes of the Porros and other players that find themselves up there who do chip in with goals. Maddison coming back as well. So I actually think that with where we're at now, I just think it could be. It's just not going to happen, and I don't know. Like Adam, I don't really know who is the obvious candidate out there. I think we can all dismiss Ivan Toney for lots of reasons over the last couple of weeks, where he's conducted himself, and it's definitely not an Ange kind of character.
No, he's an Arsenal character through and through.
Yeah, he is 100%. And I think that was kind of like, to me, he's the obvious sort of homegrown. Like, if you're asking me in the summer, I was, well, he's the obvious homegrown one who we might be able to lure in, and he's a quality player, but I wouldn't touch him with a barge pole, neither would Ange. So I'm not really sure who it would be that we'd be bringing in. And the recruitment obviously has been really good, so it's kind of like you trust the research is done, and the tapping in and the sort of character being a big part of the focus. We've talked about that a lot over the months. The boys that we brought in, the drive they have to play for Spurs, the effort that they put in, the sort of team spirit that they contribute, and so I would be hopeful, whoever it is, that it's not going to be. I mean, we look at who we've brought in, Felice, Scarlett. It's unlikely to see him stepping up, but then not many. Anyone here who actually thought Harry Kane was going to get even vaguely near what he became? He was pretty useless in when he was coming back from all those loan deals and playing in the summer in those sort of friendlies. He was absolutely
but Johnny,
garbage.
but Tim Sherwood turned him around famously.
Oh, that's apparently true. We need to get Tim back.
Yeah, so we need to get Tim back in.
I think.
Go on.
Go sure.
No, I was going to say, I think it. One, I hate the word marquee signing, because I think we need to get off this idea that we need to sign a big name. Yeah. We need to sign the right player. But I think it all depends on what Ange's plan is for Son. Because is Son going to be in the centre? If so, then we need to be looking more for the left wing replacement. Because then if Richie is keeping the 6 goals in 7 games form, there's no need to get rid of him. If Son is definitely going to be the striker, we've got our 2 strikers. We just need to find who's going to play on the left, who's going to contribute goals. Because I don't think we do have someone who's reliant.
Noosa.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. I mean, that could be it. That could be it.
This is a question for the next pod we'll be discussing, because there's 2 debates on Son. One is what happens in the next season when his contract expires. Do we think he's going to stay? And 2, does Ange see him as a long-term option? Like, are we crazy to already be thinking next season might be his last as a starter? Like, some people say that's absolutely wild and stupid. Of course it's not. Others, tie him down, whatever contract he needs, give it to him. Others will say, like myself, maybe it's time to start thinking, is he more of that like game changer player you bring off the bench and get him to tie down on a contract to be in that role? But I had another question from a listener, Richard Paul. I like this one. I love your handle again, Richard. And we say it top div. But everyone gets to answer this. And I'm scared if I don't veto one player out of this equation, we're all just going to say the same one. But he says, if you could have any peak player from the Premier League era in this current Ange team, from up Spurs, like Premier League era, who would you bring back in their peak to be in the squad?
Someone a little worse than current Saka.
I thought you were all going to say Harry Kane, bring back peak Harry and put him in the squad. But Go on, Adam. Start with you. Who are you thinking?
You know, the player that I think we have missed and never really replaced was Moussa Dembele. I think he was absolutely phenomenal in that centre midfield. When he got the ball, it was very, very hard to get the ball off him. He made things tick. He made things work. So, looking at that, and don't get me wrong, the centre midfield is when we have our first three in there, it's fantastic. But there's the obvious ones. But I think he was a shining light in that team that we had under Poch that took us to places we never expected to go. And I think he was a key figure in there.
He's perfect fit for Ange ball as well, isn't he? Imagine him and Bentancur, people pressing them and trying to get the ball off them. You just be chasing shadows.
Yeah.
But Stu, you're in deep thought there. Who would you bring back with 21-year-old knees?
I mean, for me, I think Dembele is a good shout. But I'm hoping that maybe the Basuma of the prior to his sending off at Luton could be that replacement. I think Bale would just be incredible under Ange. I think he would tear up that left-hand side. He would be, giving assists. He would be scoring goals. He would be absolutely amazing and take us to Premiership glory.
We could even play him left back. Ange likes him getting forward.
It's true.
That would be, but would he get injured? He was quite injury prone. Like, I'm thinking in a high press scenario, but I guess it's peak Bale when he's like 21.
Peak
when
Bale,
he was
when
just,
he was fit.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably the best. Like, I've always said that you can argue who's the greatest player in the Premier League era for Spurs in terms of like over the course of a season or their whole career, who is the best. But in terms of a one-off game on top form, who could turn a game around, is there even a debate for who? He's the only one I think of that would just be like, I'll just run the whole pitch and score it from 40 yards just because I need to do it now.
He won Ronaldo about 2 or 3 Champions Leagues. So,
yeah, true. Deej,
yes.
Deej, who would you go for?
I agree. Like I said, I want someone a little worse than current Saka. So Gareth Bale. I think that he is I think if Ange were to grow a player in a lab for Ange ball, I think it would come out as a Welshman with long hair. I think that he is the perfect player for Ange ball.
Robbie
I think
Savage.
he would be.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a couple more characteristics that need to be added for Ange's perfect player.
That's a ball.
But yeah, I think that Gareth Bale would just be just imagine having a winger partnership of you just have like a rotation of Bale and
Bale can play on the
Bale
right
on one
as well.
side. Yeah, Bale on one side, Son on the other. Or Bale on one side, Son in the middle, and then I don't know who cares on the other side. Like at that point, just having a front two that had Bale and Son without
peak Bale and Son.
Bale and Son.
The pace
would
just be unreal.
Yeah, exactly.
Just hit it long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Johnny, you got to wrap this up with your guy.
I'm sorry. There's obviously a lot of brilliant players that we've seen down the years. Like Ledley deserves a mention, and Modric obviously deserves a mention. But I think, given the situation with our team at the moment, to be honest, it doesn't even matter with the situation at the moment. But that's an area that we're kind of looking to strengthen. Brought in Werner to do that is certainly not peak Bale. And then there's obviously the whole dead ball situation. I mean, he was just anytime he was lining up a free kick, he was lethal from those sort of positions as well. So it was ridiculous, wasn't it? Like when the year before he left, and he was just literally, like you said, running the length of the pitch. It was like you're playing like FIFA, and you're just kind of there's like a button that you can accelerate, and just the ball's still sticking to his feet. It was just absolutely stupid. It was insane. So I think it has to be Bale, to be honest. Yeah.
I'm not sure if anyone used to play that rugby game on PlayStation or whatever back in the day. And Johnny Wilkinson, when he was like peak, it was so overpowered, whoever made him, that you could just score a drop goal from your starting point right into pit. It's kind of like that with Bale, wasn't it? It's like you could But you got me thinking of this like Frankenstein now. I'm thinking, imagine Bale's pace and
Bobby
shooting
Savage's body.
with Dembele's dribbling, like you'd just never get it off him. It
Teddy
would just,
Sheringham's brain.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, next episode, we're going to build using 3
good.
Tottenham players. Everyone has to go away do the homework. You can choose 3 Spurs players to build your ultimate Tottenham Frankenstein.
Emerson Royale's pace, Emerson Royale's decision making, Emerson Royale's crossing.
Yeah, you got it.
Andros Townsend, no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm dreaming of Steve Malbronk hybrid with Andros Townsend. But yeah, that's
That's
Gary-
Edinburgh.
It was like Gary Doherty.
Vinny sideways. Eh?
oh, don't be dreaming. Ben Celeb, all these world-class players are coming back. But
That's his pace.
yeah, I think we've got to acknowledge though, and that you're right that it has to be Bale or Dembele for what we need and what fits the team now. But if Ange's team was fully functioning 1 season from now, I think Modric should be in there for a conversation. Like Real Madrid built a team that runs 6 Champions Leagues around him. But yeah, he's not the perfect guy for Ange Ball though. That's the kind of thing, isn't it? But yeah, cool. We need to wrap up there. But good to catch up, everyone.
We
Just
can do
wanna shout out-
predictions.
Oh,
Yeah,
go on, quick. You can't even justify your score, but you can say your score. Go on, Adam. What are you saying?
4-3 Tottenham.
Stu,
3-0 down. 4-3 up.
4. All right, there you go. Love it.
I'm going to be. I'm going to take Johnny's role and be Mr. Doom and Gloom.
Negative Nelly.
I think we're. Yeah, negative Nelly. I think we're going to lose 1-0.
Right, Teach.
I think I refuse to predict a loss. So I am gonna go with. I feel like everything tells me that we should lose this game. So because it's Tottenham at our stadium, we are going to win 2-1 on that Richie doubleheader we keep talking about.
Oh yeah,
Go on, Johnny.
yeah. You beat me to the double header. I was gonna pop that one in too. So I'm with you there. I'm going to say 3-2 Tottenham.
All right, I'm going to go 2-1 down at half time. Pep gets complacent, brings off De Bruyne and Haaland because they're not fully fit, and we go on to win 3-2.
Maddison last minute free kick.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, cool. Well,
Come on, you Spurs.
Up the Spurs.
Johnny
Come on, you Spurs.